This car right beside me is the Honda City in the top-of-the-line RS trim. We've already reviewed this car in the past and we really liked it. If you're interested in seeing that review, just click up here. But we have yet another car here with us today, and it is the Honda City, also in the RS trim. So this Honda City right here, at first glance, it looks like the exact same vehicle, but if you take a closer look, there are some minor changes for 2023, mid-2023, or for the 2024 model year. Starting off, if you look at the lights, well, there's no changes right here, but if you look at your grille, it is slightly different now. They also place the RS logo a little bit further down below. The entire bumper assembly is also new, even the splitter is new, and these fog light surrounds, they're also different now. It looks just a little bit more sporty. The side of the new Honda City RS also gets a couple of changes. So if you take a look at your rims, they have ditched the older silver painted rims. Instead, you now get gunmetal gray. And the design is also completely different now, but they have retained the size. These are still 16 inches big, and they're still wrapped in 185/55/16. Your mirrors, they are still painted in black, but if you look down below, you now get side skirts. At the back, there's also a couple of changes. So while they retained the wing, they retained the tail lamps as well as the RS badge. If you look right here by your bumper, it's completely different now. Number one, you have a different diffuser setup, which is a little bit more aggressive. And if you take a look, you also lose those reflectors on the side. Instead, they are relocated down under the diffuser. Here inside the cabin of the new Honda City RS, well, it also looks pretty similar. But if you take a look at your instrument cluster, you now have a slightly bigger screen. You also get this new red stripe by the dashboard. But the biggest change would be the buttons on your steering wheel, because this car now gets Honda sensing. And it's not only for this top-line RS trim, you get it throughout the entire lineup of Honda City. So this even includes the base model trim. While all the changes are pretty minor, that in itself, getting adaptive cruise control, getting lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, and autonomous emergency braking is enough to spell the difference between an aging vehicle and a modern vehicle. Additionally, while the center touchscreen looks very similar, you now get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Interior and exterior changes may be very minimal, and with no change to the engine means that this car is still pretty similar to before. But with the addition of Honda Sensing coming up as standard throughout the entire lineup, simply brings the Honda City to the 21st century. And now for the tentative pricing. The Honda City in the base model E-trim starts at 975,000 pesos, topping out at 1,130,000 pesos for this RS trim. For colors, you can get Taffeta White, Platinum White Pearl, Lunar Silver Metallic, Meteoroid Gray Metallic, Ignite Red Metallic, and Obsidian Blue Pearl. So now we drive the facelifted Honda City in this RS trim, and unsurprisingly, the driving feel is exactly the same as the pre-facelift model because they still share the same powertrain, suspension parts, and pretty much everything. Speaking of powertrain, you still get a 1.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder gasoline engine, making 121 horsepower and 145 Newton meters of torque, mated to a CVT. And as with before, it still is a very peppy engine. It still is a very rev-happy engine. And the suspension is still a little bit on the firm side. But of course, the trade-off for that is you still do get pretty good handling, at least for a car of its class. Also, the steering, just like before, is pretty responsive. It is light inside the city, but it also tightens up once you get to higher speeds. It still is one of the most dynamic cars in its class to drive. Well, the biggest highlight of the new Honda City is the addition of Honda Sensing. Unfortunately, since we can only drive the car as of now inside the test track, we can't really test out its adaptive cruise control, its lane keep assist, and lane departure warning and all of that. But do stay tuned. Once we get lend out units for a full review, we will tell you how it feels.